did he know the whistleblower and Ross were in a mission to establish some information they had taken from their informers. The first accused person in the transaction is seen facilitating the process of these children leaving the hospital. In his position as a medical social worker, the nursing desk had nothing to doubt, and therefore the children were handed over in the normal course of work, and therefore the nurses could not detect anything that was wrong. In the discussions between the first accused person, the whistleblower, and Rose, as I have pointed out, some discussion of money is coming out. There is discussion between the first accused person and the whistleblower that this meeting should be held elsewhere and not at Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital. And the potential customer should not know that the first accused person is an employee of Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital. The first accused person is also getting worried as per the discussion or as per the documentary. And whatever was being planned ought to have been in total confidence. In the second meeting, an issue of child adoption is raised, and Ross is of the view that the process is complicated, and therefore if there was a shortcut, it would be preferred. The first accused person is heard asking a question from Ross on what gender of a child she would prefer, and Ross is of the view that she only needs a healthy child. A discussion of a boy child abandoned in hospital and nobody will ever claim is also coming out clearly in the discussion. After the second meeting, the children are seen being discharged from the hospital. The first accused person follows the car shows in the nurses and ensures that these children are delivered to a motor vehicle waiting. He assures the whistleblower or the driver that the guards at the security guard would not raise any issue. In any case, the discharge or the release document from the hospital are proper, and therefore the children were left at the mercy of Ross and the whistleblower. After children are handed over, a third meeting is held, and following is deduced from the events of the third meeting. Some money is placed on the table where the first accused person, the whistleblower, and Ross are seen. The discussions of baby nutrition and how the baby should be handled comes out. The money is placed on the table, and the first accused draws the money towards himself. And therefore, Ross is grateful that the deal has gone through, and they leave, and investigation comes out. From the analysis of the video clip and evidence as provided, I am of the view that first accused person, knowing very well that Ross and the whistleblower or the driver of the said motor vehicle were not employees or representatives of Imani Children's Home, he fraudulently and without consideration of his ethics, he confers children or transfers children to people who are not representatives of the children's home, and therefore the whole process was by means of fraud, because accused person knew very well that in as much as these children are indicated that they are aided to Imani Children's Home, they were not aided there. And the court pauses and asks a question. If Ross was to get one child, why would the first accused person in his mischievous behavior not let the two other children go as per the discharge? And therefore, this comes out clearly that the first accused person was, for any given amount or at any given moment, in total disregard of the vulnerability of these children, he just decided to hand them over to Rose to deal and to handle them as she would wish. And this is total abuse of the office of the social medical worker, and it was against his ethics. Accused person disposed of one child for 300,000 and two children for free, unless otherwise is established. And therefore, these children are left, and the investigations clearly show that Rose, who did not have bad intentions for the baby, she delivers the baby as they were destined, together with the child who she was to or she had paid for. Accused person used fraud means, abused his position and the victim vulnerability, and received payment and transferred 3 children. In his evidence, he tries to deny all this and brings a different synopsis, which the court finds lacks merit or does not add up. And therefore, the first accused person, it is to the finding of this court, knowing his position, he transferred or he was involved in child trafficking by transferring 3 minors to unknown people for economic gain, regardless of their vulnerability. Again, I would say the second accused person, Selina, who was in charge of the medical social work desk, was not mentioned in the video. In the discussions between the first accused person, the whistleblower, and Ross, it came out clearly this was to be in high confidence and total trust, and therefore it was made that no other person should know, and probably Selina did not know, inasmuch as she was in charge of the medical social workers desk, and she ought to children. And therefore the court again will give the benefit of doubt on child trafficking or trafficking in persons to Selina. We have 3 other counts of child neglect that is contrary to Section 127 of the Children Act. The 2 accused persons had a duty at Mama Lucy Kibaki. Among their duties were to ensure that children who are abandoned, OB numbers are taken, the children office is informed. In line of their duty, the medical social workers were supposed to do ward rounds with nurses and their doctor. And because those children who had been admitted there, having been cases of abandoned children, were at the attention of the medical social worker's office, and the office of the medical social worker had to ensure that after the children are discharged, a safe place for these children had to be established, having worked together with the children office. This was not the case. The office of the medical social worker, Mama Lucy Kibaki, did not inform the children office at Embakasi Children's Home, and the evidence of Susan, who was the only children officer working at Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital, she was elaborate that at no given time, the office of the children office Embakasi was notified about the 3 subjects. The first accused person shielded the process, but senior Selina, who was in charge of the medical social workers desk, kept records of the 3 children, among other records. At the time of discharge, the Office of the Medical Social Work would know that these children have been discharged. They have been handed over to the respective homes or safe places, and therefore their case would be closed because they had no duty of following up to establish whether or after the children are taken over to the children's home. In the process, I am of the view that the Office of Medical Social Worker at that time did not do their duty because there was no communication between the office and the Children's Office, Embakasi, as confirmed by PW10, who is Susan and the children officer at that time. If Selina was in charge of the said office, she did not ensure or she did not inform the children's office. These children were left at the disposal of the first accused person who had dealings. However, the first accused person was working together with the second accused person, and therefore I am of the view that the office did not do their duty as they ought to have done. Selina ought to know that these children are now admitted in hospital. The doctor has confirmed they are safe for discharge. The children officer has already got a placement, and these children have now been discharged, and these children are now out of the hands of the hospital. It was not until complaints were raised when Selina ran around, got the 3 files from the records office as stated by the witness who was in record keeping at Mama Lucy Kibaki Hospital. She got and wrote a report to the medical superintendent, Dr. Musa, at that time, and the files were never taken back to the office of or the records office, and this case was established. My conclusion is that the 2 accused persons, knowing that they had a duty of care of these 3 children, they neglected their duty, exposed these children to abuse jointly, and they failed to protect them. And therefore, Selina and Makala Fred are guilty of the offense of child neglect as charged. In conclusion, I find that the prosecution has established a case beyond reasonable doubt against the first accused and is hereby convicted of conspiracy to commit a felony, namely trafficking in person of 3 subjects, and child neglect of 3 persons or 3 children. The third accused person is only convicted of 3 offenses of child neglect and acquitted on conspiracy and child trafficking. Prosecution. Counsel for the first accused person.
Thank you very much. First, Your Honor, we appreciate the judgment of the court. We shall be seeking that as we await the sentence, the proceedings, court orders that the proceedings be typed and the judgment to be typed, to enable us to be served on us, to enable us to prepare and present the mitigation of the first accused person. Number 2, Your Honor, we shall be seeking that the court orders a pre-sentence probation report to enable the court arrive at a just and fair sentence. Lastly, we will be waiting for mention date when we shall present our litigation to the court to make the sentence.
Yes.
Also then please for the submissions.
Okay. Mr. Ochola?
Thank you, Your Honor. First of all, we take this moment to appreciate the court, the position that it has just rendered, mitigation on behalf of the second accused person. As such, we shall be requesting for a date for mitigation. And equally, we shall also be asking the court requests for a pre-sentencing probation report, which the court.
This court has pronounced itself. 3 more layers are remaining for him to challenge the decision at the High Court and probably the Supreme Court. So if there is no so Your Honor, we urge that court takes that line and still extends the bond terms and bail terms. So that's what.
Indeed, for the court to arrive at a fair decision, it is proper that a pre-bail report, a pre-sentence report be prepared, and therefore I am ordering the office of the probation department to prepare pre-sentence report in regard to each of the accused person. For the defense to prepare for mitigation, I hereby order a certified copy of the judgment be supplied to each, proceedings be typed. And lastly, on the issue of extension of the bail bond, I am finding that the first and the second accused person have been convicted. This first accused person, under the provisions of counter trafficking in person, Section 3, subsection 5, the sentence is outlined, and it's a bit serious sentence, and it is therefore the court's view that the accused person should remain under the protection of the court, and I hereby order that each of the accused person to be remanded accordingly. They are now convicts, and the first accused person shall be remanded at industrial remand, while the second accused person shall be remanded at Langata. The defense will get a copy of the judgment by close of business to prepare for mitigation, and proceedings will start being typed immediately, and therefore it is upon the defense to fast track with the probation office on the pre-sentence report and prepare their mitigation. Yes, or 20. Anyway, the week is busy, but because the accused person will be in remand, anytime you feel like you are ready, even the Friday of 22nd, you. Okay, what date are you proposing?
Yes,